1940, the Germans announced the construction of a ghetto and walled this area off from the rest of Warsaw. After the second Jewish uprising in 1943, the Germans burned and entirely demolished this whole area of Warsaw, block by block.
This was the biggest synagogue in Warsaw, and
this is a museum about the history of Jews in Warsaw. This area here is where most of the Jews lived before World War II, that is.
There had been an uprising here, which we're going to talk about. It so humiliated the Germans that they could not bear to have one stone left upon another. And so it was very much a destroy everything, kill everybody. And when it was done, there was just rubble. And there was a telegram they sent back to Berlin that the Jewish ghetto is in. So this is really sacred that we're walking. Warsaw has been destroyed because 33% of the population of Warsaw was Jewish. So the very, very first memorial that was put up after the war is this one back here. Okay, it's a circular shape. It's in memory of the Jewish uprising. And the reason it's in a circle is because the sewage covers, the manhole covers in the streets were in a circle. And that's how people in the uprising, but also in the Jewish uprising, managed to move around the city. They had to go down into the sewers, and move their ways around.
Harsky was a Polish soldier, resistance fighter, and diplomat during World War II. He was a courier in 1940 to 43 between the Polish government in exile and Poland's Western allies. He delivered evidence to Western allies that Nazi Germany was mass murdering Europe's Jews. Unfortunately, leaders in London and Washington rejected his pleas for action. After the war, he eventually taught at Georgetown and died in Washington, D.C. in 2000. The monument stands 36 feet tall and was designed to evoke not just the ghetto walls, but also the Western Wall, known as the Wailing Wall, in Jerusalem. On this side is a flat depiction of a mournful group of Jewish people. They are utterly resigned to their fate. Shoulders and heads bowed, the majority of the figures shuffle forward.
Glinting off, and you can see light reflecting off. Again, you have very large hands and very large feet. Look at each of the individuals. They're representing all sorts of different people that took part in the Jewish uprising. There's an old man in the front with a very defiant look on his face. There's Anya Levitch, who was the hero of the uprising. He organized it. He was all of 23 years old. Most of the uprising were young people. Down to the left, you'll see a young man with a dagger, and then just above Anya Levitch, you see a girl with a gun. A girl with a gun, a young woman, okay? Very different. And then up above, you're going to see a young woman with her hands like this, and a baby right next to her. The Avenue of the Righteous with the trees.
This displays
Court of Honor,
at the end of the
side by side.
uprising, and rather than being captured, they set off a bomb, and this sculpture represents the exact second the bomb is going off.
It is symbolizing one of the gates to the Jewish ghetto. So now we are like outside the area of the ghetto, from the ghetto, and crossing this building, crossing the gate, we would be inside the ghetto. So the ghetto, it was really very, very big one. It was like the area from the center of the city, where is now the Palace of Culture and Science. It was reaching also the old town of Warsaw. So all the northern part of the city.
This was the second uprising in 1944.
And he started before. So that's why he said, well, you started this fight, you can fight alone. So I will win. So he wanted Poles and Nazis to fight each against the other, to kill themselves, and later he would come here victorious. So after 63 days, it failed. Warsaw surrounded. During these 63 days of struggle, around 200,000 people, mostly civilians, were killed. During all the war, around 800,000 people in Warsaw were killed.
Commemorates the Jews in their revolt, and this guy's going down in the sewer, which is where they hid.
Soldiers or insurgents is going down to the sewers. The sewers were used to hide and also to escape from one side of the city to another one. Resistance. So it is like an anchor, but there are two letters connected, P and W. Polska walcząca, Poland fighting. And also these pillars on the right side, they are like dark, they are not finished because they are symbolizing Warsaw in war. So Warsaw destroyed also. And you can see a part of that, this emblem of the Polish resistance.
Monument commemorates the victims of the Soviet invasion of Poland in 1939 and the subsequent repressions following the takeover in 1944-45. In particular, those deported to labor camps in Siberia and the victims of the Katyn massacre, where almost 22,000 Polish military, police officers, and others were murdered by the invading Soviets at Stalin's order in 1944. There's a pile of religious symbols, Catholic and Orthodox crosses, as well as Jewish and Muslim symbols, all on a railway flat car.